Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. This is Living Divinity. I want to thank God for the opportunity to read for all of you today. And I want to thank all of you who have been here, who have subscribed. I really appreciate you so much. I would like to say a prayer. Dear Lord, please be with us during this reading. Protect the reading, Lord, and all the collective as we go through this. Lord, we know that the readings are limitless, they're timeless, they're a way to help the collective see things more clearly. And I pray that we are all touched during this time with your grace, with your love, with your compassion, your forgiveness. And Lord, help us to discern what is right for us. Help us to appreciate the experiences that we go through. Some of the experiences are traumatic. Some of them are just unbearable. Other experiences are beautiful. They are amazing. They give us a different perspective of what's going on within our own lives, our individual lives, and it helps us to build our character to become stronger, more resilient. And Lord, there's many of the collective out there who are searching for answers. Let the answers show up in the reading. Lord, be with all of us, even after the reading, Lord, as we start our day, as we arrive home, as we lay our heads down to sleep. Let us be thankful for having a roof over our head. Thank you for having a vehicle that takes us from point A to point B. Help us to appreciate the small things, Lord, because truly the blessings are really in the small things in life, and the big things too, but we need to appreciate all the little miracles that happen for us every day. And it all begins with you, Lord, and it all ends with you, Lord. And be with us, I pray. Amen. So earlier I did a reading, but I got interrupted. I had to stop the reading, and I actually deleted it because it just didn't feel right to pause it and come back in because the energy was interrupted. So the first card we have is Stillness is the key to success. To be still, to meditate, to pray, to use our mind, to be creative, to see how we need to look at ourselves as individuals and where we've gone wrong in the past, to not hold on to any negative patterns, to change how we live, whatever that is for you, to be better. I've said it before. When I was a little girl, one of the rhymes that our teacher taught us was good, better, best. Never take a rest until your good is better and your better is your best. And that was something that stuck with me all through the years. I think I was in second grade. And to be the best, you're not competing with anyone else. You're competing with yourself. How were you last week? How were you yesterday? Can you make yourself better? What small improvements can you apply to your life to increase your self-value? So many times we are taught to keep quiet, to not speak, to do as you're told, not as you see. A lot of sayings from our parents, and to honor our parents, to love our parents. And as we grow up, we see where our parents didn't carry through in a way that sometimes didn't benefit us. And it is our responsibility to find a higher perspective, to release any negative thoughts, or, some people might have some really tragic things stuck in their brain of what they went through when they were growing up. I wrote a letter today, and instead of mailing it, I sent it on text and I read it. In any event, I spoke of when I was about 8, my brother Randy, God bless his soul, he picked me up by the back of my shirt and the back of my pants, and he threw me across my parents' bedroom floor. And I had rug burns on my face from my forehead to my chin. And I don't really remember the pain. And what I remember was the week before, my brother punched my older sister in the eye and gave her a black eye, and she had to go to high school with it. And the week before, my dad and my brother were having a discussion, and it started escalating. And my brother didn't want to argue anymore, so he turned his back and started heading out the door. And my dad, God bless his soul, had like a 10-inch wrench, and he flung it from the kitchen area into the living room and hit my brother square in the back. And my brother fell to his knees. But he got up and kept walking. My dad's perspective was, how dare you turn your back on me? But my brother's perspective was, Dad, I don't want to fight. I'd rather walk away than have this turn really ugly. So you see, there's always another side to the story. And so with that all being said, I had a choice to hate my brother, or, honestly, I took the other choice, was to understand that the things that happened to my brother put him in a very irritable, unsettling place. Some say maybe I should have hated him. But my grandma always said, just love. And knowing that my brother went through all that, somehow at 8, I chose to keep loving him. And he was one of the first persons, the first family member I wanted to see when I got back to California from Hawaii. And he passed away in November 2020. And I didn't arrive to California until December 11th, 12th. So I missed him by a few weeks. But on the spiritual journey, I realized there is life after death. My uncle, God bless his soul, he mentioned to me that, well, I hope Randy made it to heaven. And I said, Uncle, I already know he's there. And he said, how's that? I said, because Randy told me that he doesn't celebrate Christmas because he believes you should live Christmas every day. So you see, there's really no true way, do you know? You don't know by proof, but it's the feeling that you get. Could I say he went to hell? Could I say that he couldn't make it? He didn't make it? Would I ever say that about anybody? That judgment is not for me to say. I'm supposed to love my brother unconditionally. To see that he has gone through pains that I don't know if I could have ever endured. That afternoon when that happened, I was in the living room. So I saw the tool fly through the house and hit my brother square in the back. I just thank God it didn't hit him in the head. Christmas is a time for a higher perspective. It's a time to release anger. It's a time to look into your own life. Was I too harsh with this person? Did they deserve the actions that I decided to take upon them? Could things have been different? The stillness is the key to success. This really resonates with me. When I was 4, my sisters and brothers were in the field next door. There was an undeveloped, unimproved lot. And they were playing baseball. And God bless my sister Terry. She was just a teenager. And I was a little sister. And I say I was 4, but I could have been 3. I don't really remember. But she told me, I think it was about Brother Michael had the bat in his hand. And she said, see Michael over there, he's swinging the bat. Don't walk behind him because you might get hurt. Well, I was 3 or 4. I said, okay. My sister went up to bat, and I walked right behind her. And she gave me a full swing to the back of my head. And I was out of commission. You know, back in the 60s, they didn't have machines to check. The doctor said you just have to wait and see. I remember my mom saying, somebody pick up Marcia, we gotta go. And my sister Tina picked me up. And I opened my eyes and everything was spinning. I said, everything's spinning. She said, just close your eyes. Lay still. I think I was like that for about a week. And, well, I don't really remember the pain. I remember being dizzy. And God bless my sister Terry. She passed away within the past 4 years. I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe 3. So, my first memory was burying my little sister Mona Denise. I was born November 27th, 1962. She was born in January of 64. And she died in February of 64. I was just a little kid. I remember my dad at the cemetery going to the white car, taking the shoebox out. I think I was holding my sister Terry's hand, and I look across and I see this metal contraption up over a hole in the ground at the cemetery, and Mom and Grandma were sitting there crying. And I said, "Why is Dad carrying a white shoebox?" My sister said, "It's not a shoebox. Mona's in there. She died." And I want to tell you that not all my memories growing up were bad. And I learned to stuff things down sometimes because there wasn't that much understanding. In 74, my mother died. My dad thought it would be a good idea to have a psychologist or therapist for all of his kids. Whoever this man was, he was an awful man. All of us were sitting in this big room, and he walked right up to me and he said, "Did you love your mother?" I was the first one he asked the question to, and I was the youngest. What kind of therapy is that? I was 12 years old by the time that happened, because I was almost 12 when my mom died, and she was buried sometime later. Who does that? It put a bad taste in my mouth. Therapy's probably come a long way since then, so I've been told. That one question was a question that made me know that I have to figure things out for myself. My grandmother died 10 years later in 1984. She was my rock after my mom died. She was my go-to lady. And when she died, it really left a hole in my heart. Or you could say it opened up that wound from when my mother passed away. Stillness is the key to success. This resonates for me because I heal myself. Can I say I'm fully healed? No, no one is fully healed. But I'm here to tell you that the things that you're going through right now may be worse than I ever have. I don't know your story. But the things that I've gone through in my life, I listened to my grandma. All the things that she said rang true in my life. And she gave me words of wisdom to just love. Love will guide you. Sometimes people are meant to be in your life from the day you're born to the day you die. Some people are only meant to be in your life for a short time, maybe just a season, maybe just 10 years. It's, we're all dealt a deck. We are all dealt with trials and tribulations. My dear brother Michael passed away. Oh, gosh. I would say like 10 years ago. And he had a past of taking advantage of people, a past of being tied up in drugs, a past of being cruel to people, a past of having two daughters from two different women, and I don't know what the age difference is, maybe 8 or 10 years. One daughter chooses to cherish him, the other daughter chooses to not even acknowledge him. Before he died, I talked to one of my sisters, and I said, "You're telling me that if Mike walked up to your door right now and said, 'Hey, I'm sorry what I did while I was living with you,' I said, you wouldn't invite him in? You wouldn't invite him in and say, 'Let's sit down and I'll make us a sandwich and we can talk'?" What would Mom want us to do? So I'm the youngest and nobody's really listened to me. Maybe they listened to me, but they discounted me. When my dad died in 1990, I think 92, before he died, my sister came to me and she's like, "Dad never loved me. Dad never cared for me." I believe it was a statement like, why did I have a dad like that didn't love me? And I went to my dad and I said, "Hey Dad, my sister said she doesn't think that you love her." My dad was dying of cancer. He's like, "I love all my kids." And I said, "Well, Dad, you're dying. When you die, you're no longer here. And she will have to live wondering, why couldn't Dad love me? Why couldn't Dad show me? Why couldn't Dad tell me?" I said, you need to talk to her and let her know how you feel. Let her know how you feel. And he did. So all these things that come about with life and death, there's death in relationships. So two people get married, they're all happy, they're in love, they go in front of the priest or go to the justice, the courts, they get their marriage certificate, things are great, and all of a sudden things start turning. Why do they turn? They turn because somebody decided they weren't all in. Somebody decided, oh, she's my wife now. I don't really have to chase after her. She's always going to be at home waiting for me. And I'm going to go run and do whatever I like. Then the wife says, paybacks are an MFer. Keep doing what you're doing. Because I can't stop you from doing what you're doing. I wish you would stop. If you cared about us, I wish you would. But those words were not listened to. And when that payback day comes, it's ugly for him. Do two wrongs make a right? Not really. I stayed in a marriage for 19 years trying to make it work. And the last 3 years were, I wasn't even there. I did what I had to do to get along, but that was ending because he was still doing the same things he was doing. What was he doing? Putting me on the back burner, putting me up on the shelf, putting other things first. First it was friends and drugs, then it was family and drugs or family and beer. And, I was his wife, but I didn't count. Could I have gotten a higher perspective? I tried to hold myself at a higher perspective. Things are going to work out. He's going to make changes. The changes came about a little too late. We created a child that now had to go through a divorce. I had a weak attorney who didn't ask the right questions. And I didn't really leave him right. And who suffered? My daughter suffered. And she's 28 now, and she's still suffering. I can't help her if I can't be in her life. And even if I was in her life, I've always chose to be truthful with her. I've always chose to not really talk about her dad. So there came a time when I didn't know that my daughter was back living with her dad. And he never picked up the phone. He always let the answering machine get it. And it was a cold day here in Guadalupe, and my right shoulder was aching so bad. And I called him up, knowing that he had a third wife. But I didn't know my daughter was there. And I said, "Hey, Ed, this is Marcia, your first wife. Thank you for dislocating my shoulder. Because now it's really aching me because of what you did to me." And I found out later that my daughter was there. You see, she had no idea the things her dad did to me because I never shared it with her. She was too young to share it with her. And even her being the age of 28, I don't know if I would just blurt out these things. Like I said, I had no idea she was there. And I was shocked myself that she told me I was there. I heard it. Now my daughter suffers because the only family she knows are family that turned her back on her. Kind of like they say they're there for her, but when it comes down to it, they're really not. And she has issues with my family. And if she has real issues with me, she hasn't really shared them. I know that she wanted me to fight for her. But fighting is ugly. Trying to make a court see just how innocent I was. How he turned words, actions that he was doing, he said I was doing. These awful actions he was taking, he was saying that I was doing it. He was expanding on truths or deleting some things out of truths. And he was very charismatic in court. He was very, I don't know, it's kind of like those people that watch soap operas. They run home from school and they know their mom's watching their favorite soap opera and they can't wait to know what's happening next. I was never a soap opera girl. So, in any event, he won custody of her. And people say, well, you were married for 19 years. What about the alimony? I said, I never wanted his money. He got to where he was because of our life in Virginia. I got him to move to Delaware to be near family. The job that he had, I did his application. I sent the thank you notes. And he showed up for the appointments and he passed the test. But if it wasn't for me encouraging him to go for it, he never would have went for it. He didn't want to do it because he didn't want to fail. And I told the courts I didn't want any alimony. I don't want anything from him. Did I deserve it? I would say most likely yes, but I declined because I'm someone who can rebuild. I'm someone who can be still. I'm someone that will learn whatever I have to learn to figure it out. My second husband, at his house, I was like, oh, we should do this, we should change this, we should, make it updated or whatever. And he never wanted to do any of it. He didn't say he didn't want to do it. He just said, and went back to his TV. So I thought that maybe he didn't know how, and he didn't want to say. Then when we moved to Hawaii, he was quality control for a high-rise, and there was some nepotism there, but he did his job. And after he got laid off, that's when he started doing his maintenance work. So he was a handyman. And I recalled back in Delaware, like, I thought you didn't know how to do any of it, so that's why you were quiet. He's like, no, I just didn't want to do it. So together we learned how to do tile and cabinets and painting and demo. He was familiar with a lot of it, but the hands-on had been, I guess many years later, the tile was not his forte. That was my forte. We did complete remodels. We subbed out our countertop guy, our electrician, and our plumber. We used the same three specialty companies with every job that needed that work. And I learned how to do everything. These tarot cards, I watched tarot readings for like 3 years before I actually decided to venture into this. And the amazing thing is the cards that I pull, their readings end up resonating with other readers. And it would be difficult, it would be time consuming to watch a reading and say, well, I want to say everything that she's saying, so I'm going to make sure I pull all these cards out so it actually resonates. I really don't believe that anybody would waste their time doing that unless they were trying to compete with someone else and really didn't know the cards and their meanings. The cards come out. They just come out. And it resonates for someone out there. So, the stillness is the key to success. The stillness is where you can find understanding. The stillness is where you can forgive yourself and forgive others. Do I hate my first husband? No. Do I hate my second husband? No. My second husband, I said, look, we were split up for 6 months. He was on his way to Las Vegas. And I said, hey, get your bags together. Come stay with me the last 5 days. And we'll spend time before you have to go. So, a couple times I had a futon and we hugged each other, and sometimes we were crying, but mostly we were just two people spending time, appreciating time with each other. Now, why couldn't we just have lived like that? Why couldn't he appreciate me? Sometimes, we're at fault for allowing people to take us for granted. When we give too much, it's like a cup of water. If I'm filling that cup with everything that I have within me, there's nothing for him to do. So I need to make a stand for myself and only fill that cup halfway and say, hey, I've done this. I've met you halfway. You're either going to, start stepping it up and putting your share in that cup, or eventually it's going to dry out. And sometimes we have to speak brutal truth, but we also have to stand our ground. Choice words: yelling, screaming, cussing, accusing. There's no way to communicate. Often I've actually told both my husbands, you write down everything that you like about me, and you write down everything that I'm doing for you, and you write down everything that you wish I would do for you. And I'll do the same for you, and we'll compare notes. They didn't want to do it. You want to know why? Because I'm a giver. I'm a giver. And I gave too much. So be careful out there. When you meet that special person, know that there has to be a balance, a check. You know, it has to add up. And it has to be something or somewhere where you both feel comfortable. I say to, for some reason this came to my mind. You see these women or men who fall in love with someone who's like a paraplegic. Well, obviously, the 50-50 is going to shift a little. But when there's real, true love, real appreciation for life, real appreciation for that person sharing their life with you and vice versa, the two can go anywhere. They can do anything and be successful. But then there are also those who are handicapped from life itself. Being used, being used for this or used for that. They become, their hearts become hardened. And they decide, well, I really fell in love with this person and I really fell in love with that person. And I'm just one to fall in love so fast. And people end up using me because I'm a giving person. And that can happen with a man. That can happen with a woman, right? Hardened hearts become, let me see what I can get out of this one, because the past 10 years of my dating life, they used me, so I'm going to start using others. Instead of going through and healing and trying to figure out, hey, I really just gave too much too fast. I got to take it a little slower. So I'm still on the stillness is the key to success. Let me show you some cards that I pulled out. You are here to lead with love. Love can give you peace. Love can open doors. Love can be let go, and if it's for you, it will return. Love can make you invest in yourself. Love, you owe it to yourself. When you know, you know. I want us to move in together. A song by Daughtry, September. The best self-care, by all means, do it naturally. Don't just get to the hype of all the vitamins and all the shakes and all the surgeries. Get your vitamins naturally. Get, your sunlight. Get your fresh air. Eat healthy. My family loves food. It is where we find comfort. And many of us overindulge. I can be one weight one day and 3 months later be a totally different weight. And I know, and I'm saying like, I could be like 20 or 30 pounds lighter, and if I stop and don't think about what I'm putting into my body, in 3 months or 6 months, I could be 30 pounds heavier. So I've learned that about myself, the things that I really, really enjoy. Like I love mayonnaise, but mayonnaise everything that comes with mayonnaise, right? You got the lunch meat, you got whatever it is, right? It could be beef, it could be chicken, and lots of it, you know. It's like getting a cheesesteak, right? A cheesesteak. It's very fattening. It's delicious. It tastes good. But what happens to your waistline? And it could be anything. But I know for me, mayonnaise is something that I kind of refuse to have in my house. I love it, but it doesn't love my body. And if I want to be healthy, there's things that I have to sacrifice. And I'm still working on getting my health up to par. Okay, so there was another card. You were born to lead others to the light. So we have 2 cards of leading, whoever this reading's for. So I had put all the cards up. I'm going to just pull 3 or 4 cards right now. I am in the Akashic. Yeah, Akashic Tarot. Holy Spirit, Holy Angels, what's the message for the collective? Okay, so I'm kind of guided to do 3. Okay, so we have 444. The first card is a 13, which comes out to 4, which is structure. The Buddha prepares. This card is about all the people sitting behind him, all in a meditative state. The one that's training, that's in charge. Everyone behind him knows that they don't make a move until they're told to do their meditation work, to do their prayers. I'm not Buddhist, so I don't know what their prayers are, but I know that there's only one God, one love. So, as the Buddha prepares his people behind him to send them out into the world to do the work of their religion. The story about the Tower of Babel, to me, sums up why there are different religions and why each religion has different rules. They have different rules as guidelines. We're not here to judge other religions. We're not here to judge other people. We're here to love and respect everybody. And if the whole world was loving and respectful, well, it would be totally too much on the love side, right? I don't know if that's really possible for that to ever happen. And what a great world this would be. But in life, we have good and bad. We have good and bad within us. So the Buddha prepares his people for the journey. 4, the karmic trench. Learning the things that you've gone through, trials and tribulations. What did you take out of it? You took out of it that it's hard work. You can yield some good things out of it, like a higher perspective, learning how to give yourself more love and respect, how to heal yourself. In the karmic trench, we all go in it. And when we're getting in there, we have a choice to do good or bad. And then we have to suffer the consequences. Sometimes people go their whole lives and never suffer that you see, you know. And one time I actually asked God, I was like, why do some bad people have, you know, a lot of riches and they have what seems to be an easy life? And believe it or not too long later, as I was scrolling on YouTube, it said, the devil sometimes is the one that gives them. He gives them all their wishes and dreams. So they have no reason to search for God. They have no reason to, they're living comfortably. God's door is always open. And their door is always open to walk away from greed, or walk away from, this life of, I say, false perfection. Because if the devil's the one that's giving them to stay in their home and stay comfortable, it's so he doesn't have to chase them. He already gives them what they want, so they stay there. The door's always open. God's door is always open. They could always say, hey, God, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this my life path? Am I supposed to be doing something with my life? They might get little nudges. Oh, give to charity, or I don't know. It just seems to me like sometimes it's superficial. Let me move forward. The karmic trench, we all can get in there, and we learn. We build our character by our choices, and we go through some hard places, some dark places, and when we get out, we know how we got out before, and we have to remember that by our choices, by what we choose in our own lives, will karma come back to us. Karma could be good or bad. The Four of Keys, clearing the way. The Four of Keys, clearing the way. So we do have 444. So you might want to do that angel number. Clearing the way. He has his axe. He knows if he doesn't hit it hard enough, he's never going to get to the center of that log to be able to make it small enough to get his horse to move it out of the way. If he does it too hard, the axe, the metal part could actually fall off. It could spring and hit someone. He could hurt himself. So there's a way that he wants to handle clearing the way. And you see they're going towards their home down a long lane. And they probably came from a faraway place, right? So it's kind of disappointing when you're on your way home and you have a flat tire and there's no one around to help you. You got to figure it out, These days, it's horse and carriage. You didn't have a cell phone to say, call your neighbor, hey Tom, can you bring over your tractor? It's effort, it's being wise with your time and with your energy, and having the understanding of what needs to be done to clear the way. So 444. Okay, so that's Kashik. Now I'm going to pull some cards from the mermaids. Holy Spirit, Holy Angels. Okay, so we have discernment, learning discernment. Sometimes people talk to us. Sometimes people can come across so genuine, so truthful, and you believe every word they say because they've never steered you wrong. Always discern. People do lie. People do stretch the truth. People do take out important pieces of evidence, of truth. People project. So we might have a case where someone has projected, say this is a girl. She's projected all of her negative qualities onto another girl. That everybody seems to like the other girl. Kind of a breath of fresh air when she walks into the room. So girl A doesn't really she has to do a lot to get attention. She has to make these remarks to get people to lift their eyebrows towards her. And then here's girl B, she walks into the room and it's like the aura of the whole room changes. So we need to discern, is girl A telling the truth about girl B, or are they outright lies, projecting their negative actions or intent onto another? Are they stretched truths? Are they truths with important information not injected into the conversation? So use discernment. Dreaming talks about daydreaming. What do you see your life in the future? She's holding a conch shell. They say the conch shell holds communication of the sea. Have you ever listened to a conch shell? A dried out conch shell with no conch in it. It's like you can hear the whispers of the winds through there. You're dreaming of who it is that you want in your life, or what it is that you want in your life. It's it's people, place, or thing. Or it could be all about self. Where do you see yourself in your dream, in your daydream, or your night dream? And the last card is turn away. Turning away from things that no longer serve you. Understanding that possibly this man, I'll just say man, he must have been dreaming about this particular woman. Yet he was dreaming of a future with girl B. And girl A always tried to be near this man to figure out what it is that he liked about girl B. And, well, it's all coming out. It's all coming out for someone out there, that everything that this man saw in girl B, girl A was trying to project onto girl B reasons why he shouldn't feel that way about girl B. And then girl A started sort of copycatting all the things that out of a friendship discussion with this man, oh, I like this about her. She would try to girl A to be girl B. So it's a matter of kind of switching destinies, or discounting the good one as the bad one and counting the bad one as the good one. So I think that's come out. And this man or woman, whoever it is turning away from girl A. Okay, let's see what else we have. Kind of have to move through this a little bit fast because I don't know how long this is going to go.